calendar. Let's talk about the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. Let's look at the fixtures for the quarterfinal, and it's interesting. That's it on your screen. You have Korea, DPR, that's North Korea, taking on United States of America. Of course, Germany taking on host Canada. Nigeria will play New Zealand. And of course, France will take on South Korea. Interesting matches.
Yeah.
But Kunle, our heart and mind will be with the Falconets.
Yeah, our heart and mind will definitely be with the Falconets. My hands was actually in my mouth when we were during the game against England, and the ladies showed resilience. They showed doggedness to actually come back from the goal down to secure.
Looking at their opponents in the quarterfinal, you have a feeling?
Yes, yeah. I was actually a bit scared if we had we were going to be missing the French team who had scored 12 goals in the competition, conceding just only one. You want to say that it was really going to be very tough for the Falcons. But first, coming up against the New Zealand team, with the second game the New Zealand team played against the French team, we were whipped. They scored. The French team actually scored 4 goals against them. So it's looking like we really have a chance. But the problem I think I have with the Falconets is the fact that they don't get to convert most of the chances that comes their way. They've only been able to score 3 goals and conceded 2 goals, compared to New Zealand, who has scored about 6 goals in the tournament so far. It's evenly poised, but I think the Falconets actually favored to.
Some of the matches will be played on Saturday, while some will be played on Sunday, and this is wishing the Falconets all the best. All right, let's move on from the Falconets and go to the English Premier League. Everything starts this weekend.
Absolutely.
And interesting matches. Let's go to the fixtures now. It begins tomorrow, and it's going to be interesting because you're going to see all the teams, and you're going to now start reading meaning to analyze them based on the results, not what you saw in preseason.
Yes,
it's quite easy to defeat teams from Thailand, defeat teams from United States of America. But let me work.
I hope you're not talking about Manchester United yet.
I wasn't referring to anybody. Okay, Manchester United take on Swansea, Leicester take on Everton, QPR, that's Queen's Park Rangers, take on Hull City, that's Hull City, and of course Stoke City take on Aston Villa, West Brom take on Sunderland, West Ham, Sam Allardyce club take on Tottenham Hotspurs, and of course Arsenal will take on Crystal Palace. We'll be talking about Crystal Palace much later. Their manager is no more, and the assistant will be taking charge of that game tomorrow. Liverpool take on Southampton, Newcastle take on Manchester City, and of course Burnley take on Chelsea. Interesting matches, Kunle?
Yeah, interesting matches. All the teams have actually been preparing ahead of this game and the games. And, it's so interesting that, just like you said, this is the getting wins at, the season doesn't really
count for much.
When hostilities begin at the English Premier League. The game between Manchester United and Swansea will really tell us how much Manchester United and, of course, Van Gaal,
whether or not they will still have to buy more players.
They'll still have to buy more players. They have 2 players which they acquired this season, but they really have a problem in the midfield. From my own perspective.
Yeah, of all the top teams, they've spent less.
Absolutely.
And you would expect that a new manager will probably do a surgery on that team, but Luis Van Gaal seems to be taking his time. Well, there's really not much to say. First game tomorrow. Maybe after tomorrow we'll be able to say this is what would happen. But let me put you on the spot. With what you've seen, if you're going to pick the top 4 teams at the end of the season, give me your pick, top 4.
Yeah,
end of the season.
Top 4 are based on the caliber of players at the team's disposal, cohesiveness, and understanding among
factor
players.
What can happen in January as well.
Absolutely. I think for my number 1, I think I want to give it to Chelsea.
Okay.
Number 2 should go to Manchester City. Then 3rd position should go to Arsenal, and of course we should have Liverpool in the 4th position as well.
Okay. Manchester United will not make it to the top 4.
From
according
what
to
I've
you.
seen, yes.
Candidates for the drop.
For the drop, I think you know, you always look at teams like Leicester City. They just
the newcomers, all the newcomers,
Queen Park Rangers,
and teams like Crystal Palace, who have just let their manager go.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Tony Pulis. Well, we have to start calling him former manager of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Best voted manager of the year as at May.
Yeah.
And 2 days, I mean, barely a day to the start of the new season, and you let your manager go. I mean, explain that.
Yeah, no, I think he really had a disagreement with the president of Crystal Palace.
The recruitment
policy. He said there was need to actually add some additional quality into the Crystal Palace squad so that they can actually compete, probably, you know, make it, to the UEFA Cup. But of course, they thought otherwise. So he felt that that's one good thing about these managers of this nature. When they feel that, you know, they don't really get what they want, they throw in the towel. And for me, it's good for Pulis. His antecedent speaks for him. He's a very, very good coach. And you know, we wait to see how Crystal Palace will actually fare with their assistant manager.
Okay, let's talk about another person. He used to be in the English Premier League. He's not there anymore. He has signed for Barcelona, and he went to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, hoping to get his ban reduced or, I mean, thrown away totally. But he didn't get that. Luis Suarez. How does that decision from the Court of Arbitration make you feel? Does this have as a deterrent to players who would want to behave like that, or you feel that because it is Suarez, because actually now he can't train.
Yeah, he can train
now. He can
even be involved in friendly matches.
Some of those issues about any football-related activities have been relaxed.
Absolutely.
So do you think we're getting all of this because it is Luis Suarez, or I mean, the right kind of punishment was given to him?
I think the right kind of punishment was actually meted out to him because just like I said last week, it's not in the FIFA rules that a player should bite. If you are involved in a tackle, you understand, you get the punishment. But when you bite on the field of play, I think this is not very right. And Luis Suarez actually deserves the treatment being meted out to him. And, you know, FIFA actually did very well. The Court of Arbitration for Sports has done well for me for actually reducing it to the international top games he plays for both country and the clubs. You know, he can actually train with both the national team and the club, which is, for me, is good for him.
All right. Finally, before we leave the Suarez issue, probably might be the last time we'll talk about it, but do you think Suarez will be a chain man? He goes about signing autographs, smiling with kids. I mean, I don't know. Do you think it will be a change man?
For me, I think,
or you think he's still going to do something like this?
He might still do it again. I think Suarez, I guess, anytime he's frustrated, probably his team doesn't seem to be doing well. Maybe they are, you know, they are not actually doing well in a particular game. That is when you see the worst, the bad side of Luis Suarez. So I think if you know, you get to see El Clasicos, you understand, in the Spanish Liga, and you get to see those antipathy which exist between both teams happening.
I mean, just take a look at him with his kid, signing autographs. I mean, he looks
like a gentleman.
Exactly, and but you know, he just comes off and do some of those things. And
you know, the funny thing, I mean, is the fact that this is not the first time, this is not the second time he's doing it. This is the third time he's actually doing it. If he had been given this kind of punishment, perhaps he would have.
But for a club like Barcelona that's seen as a model, I don't know, will Luis Suarez fit in? And if he does behave like this again, how would it affect the club?
Yeah, it will definitely affect the club if he behaves like this way. But I think the kind of punishment being meted out to him this time around will actually
should be a deterrent.
Should be a deterrent to him. He's a very prolific striker. He's the kind of striker every club will actually want to have in their fold. For me, it's going to be a very huge success with Barcelona. I think he's one player they have been searching for, and I think that with Luis Suarez, Barcelona can go all the way this season.
All right, let's talk about another person that says he might retire at PSG, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Another good player. Yeah. It's that time where people begin to announce their international retirement. Eric Abidal, too, for France, says, okay, it's done and dusted. I'm not playing for France again. But looking at Zlatan, saying he has not said he won't play for Sweden, but he's saying he will probably retire with PSG. Does it look like we might get to hear something about him saying he's not playing for Sweden very soon?
Yeah, I think that this exactly might be what will happen later. Luis Suarez is actually 32 and is going to be 34. He said he's going to retire international football. He said he might not be able to play up to the level he's playing right now.
The demands,
the demands and all that. And, you know, he said by that time, he will have emerged as the best player in the world. That is actually his goal, because he feels that the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, the likes of
Messi get all the attention.
You know, get all the attention. Well, that's why he also talked about, you know, politics in FIFA, in UEFA, and all that. He said in 2 years to come, he would definitely emerge as the best player in the world.
Let me put you on the spot. The last time Cristiano Ronaldo criticized FIFA, he ended up becoming World Footballer of the Year. Zlatan is throwing his jibes now. Do you see him?
Yeah, I mean, that would not see the light of the day, I tell you, because except he moves from the French League on to probably the German
Bundesliga. He's played in all those places before.
Yes, but
apart from Germany,
there were some players who were playing better than him. I think it's just very imperative for him to actually admit the fact that some players are actually better than him.
Okay.
Current form, you know, in terms of the goal scoring prowess, dribbles and all that, I think the likes of Messi and them
will always be ahead. All right, our parting shot, Roger Federer also advanced. We saw Andy Murray earlier, and Novak Djokovic crashing out, some of the top seeds crashing out, and for the ladies as well. Looking ahead to the US Open, do you see some of these top stars, male and female, delivering?
Yeah, but some of them will deliver and some of them will actually drop. We've said it over and over again that the fact that all these ATPs is not a justification to how the players will actually fare when the Grand Slam, you know.
These guys are not machines.
They are not machines. You know, they've played like Novak Djokovic. He's played as over 10 ATPs and tournaments this season. So it's really going to be very tough for the top guys. The top guys at the US Open.
All right, that's how we wrap things up on this morning's edition of Sports This Morning, and we hope that you've enjoyed everything we've been able to do. We will leave you with tennis action from the Cincinnati Masters, and of course, PT2 join us later tonight when we have more time on our hands to talk sports. Bye for now.